Moomal Rano is one of the tragic romances of Sindhi literature, art, and culture. It is one of the seven tragic romances being immortalized by Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai, the great poet of Sindhi literature. The other six are Umar Marvi, Sasui Punhu, Sohi Mehar, Leela Chanesar, Nuri Jam Tamachi, and Sovet Ragyach. The romance is equally popular in Jaisalmer, Rajasthan. In Rajasthan, the story is famous as Moomal and Mahendhro, and, and in Sindh, it is famous as Moomal Rano. The tale shows inalienable relationship between the two neighboring states, Rajasthan and Sindh. The background of the story sets in the 13th century during the reign of Rajanand. Rajanand ruled Mathelu 8 kilometers in the east of Talka Gotki, a district in the north of Sindh. Rajanand had 9 daughters. Of all 9 daughters, Moomal was the paragon of beauty, whereas Sumal was paragon of wisdom. One day, Rajanand went on hunting expedition when he was chasing a swine. He was surprised to see when a canal came in the way of a king and the swine, and whenever a swine ran through the mid of the canal, the water in the canal parted and gave way to the swine. The king ultimately succeeded in killing the swine, and one by one he put the parts of swine in the canal. He came to know the magic laid in the tooth of the swine. He put tooth aside and came back home. He hid all his treasures piled up in the canal, and whenever he needed anything, he just went there and threw a tooth and get access to his treasure. He did not tell this secret to anyone, not even to his beloved daughters. So nobody knew anything about that. He took a lot of care of the tooth. He handed over the tooth to Moomal and asked her to take care of that, but he did not tell Moomal or any one of his daughters about the tooth. One day, a magician came to know the secret, and when the king was out of his kingdom, he came to the palace of king disguised in the form of saint. Moomal came at the door, gave him alms, but the saint refused to take any but the tooth of the swine. Moomal thought it to be a simple tooth, so he gave it to the magician, and the magician took all his wealth and went away. When the king returned home and he asked for the tooth, and the whole story was narrated to the king. The king became furious and told them the secret behind the tooth. Sumal promised the king to gather the wealth lost by the mistake of Moomal. Sumal and Moomal, accompanied by some mates, went eastwards towards the estate of Jaisalmer. They came to near Ludhiana and built a majestic palace called Kak. The palace was full of labyrinth and magical spells. The princes visited the place to have the glimpses of the most beautiful lady Moomal, but lost all their wealth and tangled in the labyrinth. In this way, Moomal and Sumal collected a huge amount of wealth. One day, the king of Amarkot, Hamir Sumro, came to there near Ludhiana, as it was his in-laws in Ludhiana, Jaisalmer. Many suitors came to propose Moomal, but all the princes ended in losing all they had. Hamir Sumro also tried his luck, but in vain. It was Mahendhro Rano who crossed all the hindrances and reached Moomal. Rano spent time with Moomal, and Moomal fell in love with him. Moomal and Mahendhro kept on meeting, and their love story spread in all the corners. Hamir Sumro, out of jealousy, called Mahendhro back and asked him to not meet Moomal again. Moomal yearned for meeting the Mahendhro and vice versa. One day, when Moomal couldn't control her feelings, asked her sister Sumal to dress like a Mahendhro and share the bed with her. As Moomal and Sumal were sleeping, Mahendhro visited her but saw her sharing bed with someone else. He was heartbroken and left the place, leaving behind his kin. When Moomal got up and saw the kin, she readily understood that Mahendhro had come and left, and she understood what had happened and what did Mahendhro feel. Moomal left Cork and went to Amarkot in search of Mahendhro. Moomal disguised herself as a man, but Mahendhro found out that she was Moomal. She pleaded Mahendhro to forgive her and tried to clear his doubts. But Mahendhro didn't believe. Finding no way out, she threw herself in the raging fire, and when Mahendhro realized the truth, he too jumped in the fire, and they both burnt in the fire and died then and there.